Hey teachers, some of you have been asking about how to maybe do some light editing to your videos. Maybe you have more than one clip, or maybe you did a clip and then you feel like you messed up, or you want to make it shorter in some way in order to really make it as short as possible before uploading to YouTube. This video is going to be about how to use iMovie to do some really light, simple editing and export directly to your YouTube account from iMovie. So let's jump in, and I'm going to share my screen, share the desktop. So you see everything here. Now, some of you, I'm just going to start from the very basics, because some of you might say, well, how do I even find iMovie on my computer or on my laptop? Well, one easy way to do that is if you look at your very top row of buttons on your keyboard here, you see F4, which is going to be, looks like a square grid. At least it is on my laptop. Maybe it's different on yours, but I'm looking for the squares that are kind of all in a grid. When I click on that, I get all of my apps and they pop right up. And then I can use two fingers to swipe either direction. And I'm going to find iMovie, which is right there. And once I click on it, it's going to go ahead and open. And it may open for the very first time for you. If you've never opened it before, you may see a couple things that might say, oh, check out this update, like right here, what's new in iMovie and stuff like that. So this may be popping up. You can read through it if you want, but I'm just going to hit continue because I want to start on the first project here. So I'm going to create a new project, and it's going to ask me, do you want to create a movie or a movie trailer? I'm just creating a movie for the sake of this. And when I do a movie, it's going to basically set up my entire layout for me. Now, couple things that you want to be aware of. So over here is going to be kind of like all of your different media, or your videos and photos and all of that good stuff. Over here is just going to be viewing what's clicked on over here. So right now I'm looking at my photos. I have all of my events. I also have my iMovie library, which I have nothing in there right now, and I'm going to show you how to bring videos in here in a second. Over here, I can take a look at audio. So if there's sounds or backtracks or anything like that that I want to bring in, I can. If I want to add a title to my video, we're going to get into that here in a second. Those are found here. You have your backgrounds. If you want to choose a cool looking background of some kind, or if this is something you want to use, like some of these would be a great backdrop to put a title on, which I'll show you how to do here in a second. And then I have my transitions. So these are like my dissolves, my cool little swirly whirly transitions that some people like to mess around with, and that's fine with me too. Over here on the right hand side, in the upper right hand corner, is going to be, I'm going to go back to my media, is going to be where my video is being viewed. So like as my scrub head, which is what this line is called, my scrub head, as it's playing through my video, this is where I can preview my video. I'm also going to show you what these things up here mean when we get into some of that. And some of you have been asking about one particular thing that was in a previous video of mine, and I'm going to show you how to do that picture-in-picture effect using iMovie if that's something you want to use. So down here is going to be what's called your timeline. So this is where you're going to be putting all your clips together. So Mrs. Ticky is ready for her sight words lists 6 through 10. And so we are going to put that together for her. So I'm going to import that media. Now, what she did is she put the video clips in a Google folder that was shared with me. And then I've gone ahead and I have downloaded those video clips onto my computer. So those video clips are on my computer. Once they're on my computer, importing them into this project is going to be a lot more easy. So when I click on media import, I know, yep, I would like them to access my desktop folder. And when I get to this, it's going to ask me, where are the video clips? What do you want to import? So I save that folder to my desktop because, as you can see, that's probably the easiest place to save things to, just temporarily to bring them in. And I believe it's called the drive download. So if I click on this arrow, there they are, list 6 through 10. So I'm going to click on the first one, and then I'm going to hold shift, the shift key, and I'm going to click on the last one. And what that'll do is it'll select all of them at the same time. And then I'll come over here to import selected. As I do, you'll see these circles that will pop up, and they actually were not there very long because my video clips are now already imported. It was that quick. And I will say that Mrs. Ticky recorded all of these, I believe, with her phone, so they were pretty easy to upload to Google Drive, which I'll show another video for that. But if I want, I can go ahead and just kind of preview each one. And right now I am going to need to, I'm going to need to preview each one and see what's going on here. Let me stop my share real quick. And I know it's going to go back to me, but I want to double check that. Since I have sound coming through on the computer, I'm going to share my screen again, but I'm going to double check and make sure that I have those 2 check boxes at the bottom, especially the one that says share my computer audio. So when I share my computer audio, there's a check box at the very bottom on the left-hand corner before I click on the desktop, share computer sound. And that's what I want to do is I want to share the computer sound so that way you can hear Mrs. Ticky as she's talking. So now my computer, my entire desktop is being shared once again. I go ahead and click back on iMovie. And so right now, I don't know which clip's which, so I have to preview them. So if I put my cursor or my scrub here, my scrubber, if I just put it on the first one, to play and pause, I just simply have to hit the space bar.
Hi, boys and girls. 6 and socks start with the same letter. So,
all right. So we know that that is list number 6. So I'm going to take this clip, I'm going to click on it, and all I got to do is just drag it down here. Okay, let's find number 7.
here we go with list 7.
I got a feeling these might be in the correct order, but let's just make sure before I put them in the wrong order here. All right, so before I actually start getting any kind of transitions or titles going or anything like that, I'm just going to make sure that the beginning and ends of each of these clips are where they need to be. So if I come over here to the beginning.
Hi, boys and girls. 6 and
nothing there. And if I want, I can maybe just click here on the very end and I can just pull that over a little bit if I don't want the entire ending to be there. So I can kind of trim the ends.
Here we go with list 7.
Okay, so now I currently have my computer audio all the way up and some of this sounds kind of faint. So if I actually wanted to raise the volume of this, there are 2 ways of doing that. Right now, I just have my cursor hovering over just the line here, which is the audio track or the audio waveforms below the clip. And if I click, I can actually pull those up. Now you'll notice as I pull them up, the tips get yellow and then eventually turn red. When they turn red, that means like you're kind of losing some audio quality. So what I like to do is I like to pull the audio up until I start peaking at that yellow part. So right now that was it said, I think an increase of 25% or something like that. So what I might do is I might do that with each of my clips, or not 25, but 250. So now we're going to be able to hear Mrs. Ticky a lot better. Let's say for this clip, it is an example, I want to have some other settings. So the one thing I want to show you guys here is if I click on this clip, and then when I click on that clip, over here in the upper right-hand corner, I can preview that clip, or this is what it's playing. But I see these options that are hovering above. So the first one is going to be your automatic improvements, which is going to be like your video and audio quality and stuff like that. That's just going to kind of magically change it, make it sound better, make it look better. If I want to do more manual stuff, what I can do is I can kind of go through some of these and I can change some of the color stuff. So the color balance, the color correction, because if I click on that, you'll notice that I can kind of change the contrast here. I can make the video look more saturated, less saturated, whatever I want there. I can make it look warmer. I can make it look colder, whatever I want there. And then the next one is going to be my crop. So underneath my crop, what I can do is I can have it fit within the frame, which honestly, with everything you're recording, that's what I would recommend. I'm just kind of going through these just so you guys know what's where. So I want to make sure it fits. Crop to fill means it's going to fill the entire frame, which it's already at 1080p, so I don't have to worry about that. Ken Burns effect, I don't have to worry about that with video. That's mainly for photos. So I'll just hit fit. Here is going to be your stabilization. So let's say, and honestly, these videos, most cameras or phones these days are going to have built-in stabilization that's pretty good. So I may not even have to worry about this, but let's say it's on the shakier side. I may need to click this stabilize shaky video or fix the rolling shutter, which I don't have to worry about here. The next one is going to be my audio. So my audio means that I can have it be auto, or here's where I can raise the volume of the clip, just like what I did here. I could do it this way, or if I select the clip, I can change the audio volume here. In this case, I don't have any clips that are over top of one another, so therefore I don't need to worry about that. Here is going to be your noise reduction for your audio. If you need to speed up a clip or anything like that, or slow it down, you could certainly do it using this. Here are going to be your filters, which is kind of cool if you want to do a clip filter where like, oh, I want it to look kind of more cinematic. So if I clicked vignette, that's what essentially would happen. Not necessary in this case. But what I can do is I can add any of these kind of filters that give it a different kind of look and effect. So you even have like this cool duotone or
Hi, boys and girls.
X-ray. And if I
6
hover
and
over top of
socks
them,
start
it
with the
should be
same
giving
letter.
us a preview.
I need to match.
So I'm gonna hit cancel. And then information. So when I click on this, this is just going to give me basic information about my clip, when it was recorded, as well as how long the clip is lasting. So the number of seconds that the clip is lasting. So right now I feel like number one, I have the clips in the right order. Number two, my audio is sounding pretty good, because if your audience can't hear you, then it's going to be difficult to get your message across to them. Number three, the quality of the video, as far as what we can see the words clearly. So I don't have to mess around with the color, the cropping, anything like that. I can see the videos, I can see the words, so I'm okay there. And now I'm pretty much ready for like maybe adding some transitions and a title real quick. That simple. But before I do that, I want to get into a little bonus tip. And that bonus tip is going to be, how do I create that picture-in-picture effect? And if you guys recall back to, I think it was my DIY document camera video, I actually had a picture or a smaller image of what was on my phone versus the separate camera that was filming me all in one. So to do that, you're going to need two cameras, because if you have two cameras, then you're going to be able to put those clips together. So I'm just going to take one of Liz's clips here, and I'm going to show you how to do this just with two separate clips. So if I put this clip up here on top of the first one, because you can create two tracks of video. So we have what's called, here's my main track, my main video track, and then here is going to be like my overlay track, what's going to be over top. So think of it like if there was a camera up here looking straight down through these clips, you are going to basically see that, hey, this is first because it's on top of this. So this is why you can't see it. So it doesn't really look like another clip. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my first one. Okay, I got my first clip. And now when I select my first clip, when it's in this overlay track, I have a new little option up here. You see this? I have an option up here that's talking about my video overlay settings. So I have this clip selected, and this clip is sitting on top of this one. So now I have this new setting that when I click on it, I get some new kind of options. And I have different types of overlays. The one overlay that's really simple is going to be your picture-in-picture. When I click on that, it actually makes that first top clip smaller. And I can move this anywhere I want where it's out of the way. I can even resize it a little bit so that way you can see what it is. So I might be still talking over here, and over here is going to be what I'm explaining or what's on my document camera, right? Or actually what I would probably do separate is I would switch those. Up here might be what's on my document camera, but here is going to be me talking so the kids can still see me. I just got to be mindful that what I'm doing here, I have to plan for a space where this can sit and be out of the way. So when I have that picture-in-picture, it also gives me how do I want that picture-in-picture to come in. So right now, I just have it dissolving in. I can also give this picture-in-picture border. This dotted line means there's no border. This one means I'm going to give it a thin little border if I want. As you can see, it just added that thin border. I want a thick border. Or I can even choose the border color, and I can even give it a drop shadow for a little bit added effect, like it's sitting on top of the image there. That's kind of fancy. You can do what you want. Maybe a thin little border to kind of distinguish it from the rest of the image, and I'm fine there. but I'm actually making this video for you guys. So I am going to undo what I just did. So that way we can get back to what it is that we're trying to create here. So I'm just hitting undo until I eventually get that clip back where it's supposed to be, right there. All right, so now now that we're done with that little tech tip, we're gonna go ahead and add some titles and transitions here. So when I go over to my transitions, over here, I go up to transitions. And when I do, I have some pretty basic transitions to pick from. So what I might do is I'm just gonna kind of keep it simple and maybe do like something that's kind of quick, or maybe like a swap. That seems like a fairly quick 1 second transition. If I want to preview it, I go ahead, just put my scrub head here, my scrubber right before the transition, and hit that space bar.
Home, only, best. Here we go with list 7.
Now you couldn't really see it because what it's trying to do is it's trying to process that transition between the two clips. So now I'm just going to slowly move my scrubber between the two, and you're going to be able to see what happens between the two clips. So now I'm going to use that same transition for all of them, kind of like that swap, like it's moving from one list to the next. So now I have my transitions between the clips, but what I need to do is I may want to add a title at the very beginning so people know what list this is. So now I'm going to jump over to my titles. Actually, before that, I'm going to jump over to my backgrounds. So in my backgrounds, I want to choose a nice clean background where I can add my title and it's going to be no problem reading it. So what I might do is I just hover over top of these and you can kind of see what each one looks like. You have your underwater, your gradients, your papers. I might just go with like a simple red background for central, maybe just kind of keep it consistent with other backgrounds I've had. And I'm going to drag that to the very beginning. So now I'm not adding it above a clip, I'm adding it in front of the clip. And what I also might do is I'm going to make that a little longer based on my title. I don't know, I might go 6 seconds, somewhere in there. All right. And maybe I want to go ahead and add that transition in there as well. Back to that swap transition between the two. And now we're good. Now I'm going to go to my titles and I'm going to select the title that is going to be appropriate for what we're trying to do with list 6 through 10. And once again, all you got to do is hover over any of these. All right, so I think I got one here, this pop-up kind of a thing. Looks like it's fun, good for kids. So I'm going to grab that and I'm going to drag that down here. And by default, it makes it as a 4-second title, but I can extend that here in a second. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in here lists 6 through 10. Or I could say sight words 6 through 10. There we go. I can mess with the font. I can mess with the size of it, the alignment of it, bold, italics, you name it. I have all those options here, but I think that looks okay for now. So now I'm just going to click off down here. And let's just give it a look. Site list 6 through 10. So now let's extend this so it matches the same length as the background.
Hi, boys and girls. 6 and socks start with the same letter. So,
all right. So that looks like a good intro here with our transition into that. But we need to add some more titles. So what I would like to do is, yes, Mrs. Ticky says we are on list 6, which is great. But if we can visually put text with the video at any point, now we have two modes of getting the information. So I'm getting it auditorily as well as visually. So what I might do is I'm going to use one of these smaller ones that are called a lower third. And I do have a pop-up here for a lower third, which is kind of nice. So that way it matches my main title. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag that over here. So I want to make sure that we have list 6. And I want this to actually show up for the entire clip. All right, so I've clicked, and when I double click on this, it gives me the option to edit. So I'm gonna put list 6. Once I click off.
6 and socks start with the same letter, so I need to match my socks, but I'll help with list 6. On, food, most, time, little, next, make.
So as you can see, they know exactly what list they're on as they're watching the video, no matter where they click inside that video. So now what I can do is I'm just gonna go ahead, rather than dragging and dropping every single one each time, if I click on this and just hit Command C, I have that particular title copied. I'm gonna hold my cursor or that scrub right over top of the next clip, and I'm gonna hit Command V. And as I do, it's gonna give me the exact same thing over top of the next one. I just gotta shrink it down to the size. All right, so I've gone ahead and I have added each list number above each clip. As I drag along, you can see that. And a way to close this out, what I might do is I might add a fade out. So I'm gonna go back to my transitions just to try to conclude the video as a whole. And I got this fade to black, which I'm gonna use at the very end of this little transition here. And I'm just gonna drag, because I don't need that at the very end there. So as I drag this out,
Very right.
little fade to black, okay? Now, it would be nice if I had some background music. So what I'm gonna go up here is I'm gonna go to my audio. And what I can do is I can go to music, or I can go to sound effects, which we're not gonna do sound effects. You might have your own built-in music and so forth, or anything like that. So what I'm gonna do is, the thing is though, in order to use background music on your video, you have to have it purchased through iTunes. Like you have to have the purchasing privileges to be able to include it in your videos. They don't really have any built-in background soundtracks. So I like to choose soundtracks that are like, that they don't have any words to them. It's just sound. So underneath my purchased, I've used this group called Morning Light Music. This is where all my background music comes from. They got great different tracks that have no words to it, and they got stuff that basically fit every mood. So I'm gonna go ahead and find one that I feel that would fit this video really well. All right, so I think I found this track here that I think is gonna work really well. I'm gonna click on that, and I'm just gonna drag it down here to the very bottom, which is gonna provide me all of that. So I got this soundtrack music that goes all the way to the very end, which, yeah, as you can see, I have extra at the very end, and I'll take care of that when I get to that point. All right, so let's play it for here.
Hi, boys and girls. 6.
So now we immediately see that our music is too loud. So here's the easiest way to do this. I'm gonna just turn this down a little bit overall, because as you notice, some of that stuff was hitting in the red. So I'm gonna turn that overall because I don't want that blasting too much. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select, because the clip is over top of the audio. So I'm gonna select that clip, and I'm gonna go up to the audio settings for this clip that I've selected, which is going to be here, volume. One of the options that I have is lower the volume of other clips. So when I check this, what's gonna happen is, you notice, look what happened. It basically immediately lowered the volume of my soundtrack because I've selected it and told it that for this clip, I want everything else lowered. Like this is gonna take priority over all other audio. So now let's take a listen.
Hi, boys and girls. 6 and socks start with the same letter, so I need to match my socks, but I'll help with list 6.
Now, I might say to myself, that sounds pretty good, but in your case, you might have a background song that's still kind of too loud, like you feel like this is still too loud based on the audio of this one. So I got two choices: either make this one louder or continue to quiet this one down. So I still have this clip selected because, as you notice, when I check that box, lower the volume of the clips, I have a little dial next to it where I can adjust what's called the ducking volume, where it ducks down. Oh, I need to go the other direction with it. There we go.
Hi, boys and girls. 6 and 7.
So moving it to the right is what's going to make this clip quieter, your background audio quieter. Moving it to the left is going to make it louder. So I think that sounds pretty good right now. And I'm not sure where that's exactly at, but I'm going to do that for each clip. All right. So now I've got the background sound all the way.
2, night, see, from.
So now I can definitely hear Mrs. Tiki as she's saying the words, and the background music is just kind of adding to the atmosphere a little bit. My clip, my overall video here is 2 minutes, as you can see. So I can basically put a background song to the entire thing. But if my video, like the ones where I'm showing you guys some tutorials where they're more like 10 or 12 minutes, or like this video, I'm not going to have a background track for the entire thing because that would be too drawn out. So what you might do is just put it at the beginning and at the end. Well, I have an option here because I got some extra song left over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do something simple. I'm just going to drag it to where it's kind of pretty much at the very end of my transition. And I like to go even a little bit beyond as like a little bit of a fade. And then notice this little dot, this little button here, how I have that cursor with the lines in between. So this means adjusting the volume up and down. This means I'm adjusting my clip, whether I'm moving it to the left, I'm moving it to the right. But if I hover over top of that little dot, notice how the line goes away. Now I have my fade in and my fade out. So right here, I have a 5.5 second fade out. So if I zoom back out, let's take a listen.
Eat, it's, has, air, very, right.
Seems a little too sudden if that's the case, but for the most part, to keep this simple, doing a simple fade out with the music is all I really need to do. So now, once I have my entire thing, and again, you can go all the way back to the beginning, watch the entire thing as a whole, and make sure you got everything spelled correctly and everything's the way you want it. But now that I say it's all done, now I can actually go ahead and share this to my YouTube account. So I'm gonna go ahead and up to this upper right-hand corner here, I have my little share, which is that box with the arrow in it. When I click on that, I get some options. And one of the options that I have is YouTube. So once I click on that, it's gonna ask me what's the movie title. We're gonna call this Sight Words 6 through 10. Okay, and then I can add my description here, or I can add my description on YouTube, but to make it simple, maybe I just wanna say, Mrs. Tiki covers the sight words lists 6 through 10. Pretty simple. Any tags that I want to give this right here, I don't need a tag for this particular thing. What do I want for the resolution? I would like to go to the maximum quality if I could. 1080p is like the highest quality HD before you go into like 4K and 6K and stuff like that. 720 would probably do it just fine if I really wanted to. But if you go 1080, then it's just going to be a little crisper and a little cleaner. And not only that, it's going to make it a little easier to see if people go full screen. So I like to go HD 1080. I can pick a category for this. This is definitely an educational video. And the privacy. So this is where we see our 3 settings again, our private video, unlisted video, or public. We're gonna go ahead and make this, I believe public is the other one, that is how I made the other one. So I can click on that. And I'm gonna go ahead and sign in. Now, since this is Mrs. Tiki's sight words, it would make sense for her to be signing into her account so that way this video uploads to her account. Just for the sake of this example, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do it with your own account. So I'm going to click right on my school email account. It's going to probably ask me for password. Nope, I already have my password in there. So therefore, I'm going to say, yep, I'm going to go ahead and allow that. It's going to jump back over, and I will notice here that I am logged into my school account. The total number of minutes for this video, the size of the video, not very big, which is perfect. So now I'm gonna head and hit next. It's gonna give me like, okay, just remember this video is gonna be viewable by anyone because you've marked it as public. Hit publish. And now you play the waiting game, which in the upper right-hand corner, you're gonna see this circle here. It's gonna fill in just like a clock as it progresses through the entire upload process. So it's gotta go through and it's gotta put all the clips together, all the music, everything. It's gonna make it one single video, and then it's gonna go ahead and do the upload process. So if you're at home, it's gonna use your home Wi-Fi to upload the process, and you can see the process has started. So all I got to do is just maybe walk away, do something, or sit and wait. All right, so the circle is gone, which means it is done. So that means I could probably jump over to my YouTube channel and see if it's there. All right, so once again, once you are in YouTube, you want to make sure that you are signed into your account. So right now I'm signed into my school email or my school account under YouTube. And now what I can do is I can go to YouTube Studio. I want to make sure that video is actually in my YouTube account. So I'm going to go to YouTube Studio. Once I'm there, it immediately puts me first to the dashboard, which I don't need to do a lot with that. It can say my latest video that came in. So I know it's there, but I'm going to go to my video library, basically is where I house all of my videos. And in my video library, I can see that the SiteWords video is there. I'm just going to go into the details real quick to see if everything is there that I wanted it as. So I have my sight words, the description. It's in standard definition and high definition already, which is perfect. And I also want to make sure that I have it saved to the correct playlist. So under my playlists, I want to make sure it's saved to sight words, that I can go ahead and hit done. So technically, if this was Mrs. Tickey's account, like if she's doing this, she would want to make sure that she has a SiteWords playlist created and she's adding this video to her SiteWords list. I'm actually going to delete this video once I have it done. Everything else looks okay. I do want to make sure that this is in fact, yes, this is made for kids specifically, and I can add my tags, but everything other than that looks pretty good. So I'm going to hit save. And now my video, what I can do is all I have to do is save this link. I can, or not save it, but copy this link by hitting this little copy over here. And now I can share that link wherever, doesn't matter where. If I wanted to actually view it on YouTube, I could click here. And now I'm watching on YouTube like I would any other video on YouTube. I just wanted to make a video about iMovie that really does cover all the spectrum of learners, like someone who is just never used iMovie before to the people who have used iMovie, but really just wanted to take away a few things from it. If you have any questions, be sure to ask. Otherwise, I hope this video helps.